What a horrid woman! You have to go to bed, Miss Mabel. Lord Goring! My father told me to bed an hour ago. I don't see why I shouldn't give you the same advice. I always pass on good advice. It is the only thing to do with it. It is never any of use to oneself. Lord Goring, you are always ordering me out of the room. I think it is most courageous of you, especially as I am not going to bed for hours. Goes over to the sofa. You can come and sit down if you like, and talk about anything in the world, except the Royal Academy, Mrs. Cheveley, or novels in Scotch dialect. They are not improving subjects. Catches sight of something that is lying on the sofa, half hidden by the cushion. What is this? Someone has dropped a diamond brooch. Quite beautiful, isn't it? I wish it was mine, but Gertrude won't let me wear anything but pearls, and I am thoroughly sick of pearls. They make one look so plain, so good, and so intellectual. I wonder whom the brooch belongs to. I wonder who dropped it. It is a beautiful brooch. It is a handsome bracelet. It isn't a bracelet, it's a brooch. It can be used as a bracelet. Takes it from her, and pulling out a green letter case, puts the ornament carefully in it, and replaces the whole thing in his breast pocket with the most perfect sang-froid. What are you doing? Miss Mabel, I am going to make a rather strange request of you. Oh, pray do. I have been waiting for it all the evening. Don't mention to anybody that I have in charge of this brooch. Should anyone write and claim it, let me know at once. That is a strange request. Well, you see, I gave this brooch to somebody once, years ago. You did? Yes. Lady Chiltern enters alone. The other guests have gone. Then I shall certainly bid you good night. Good night, Gertrude. Good night, dear. You saw whom Lady Markby brought here tonight? Yes, it was an unpleasant surprise. What did she come here for? Apparently to try and lure Robert to uphold some fraudulent scheme in which she is interested. The Argentine Canal, in fact. She has mistaken her man, hasn't she? She is incapable of understanding an upright nature like my husband's. Yes, I substantiate. She came to grief as she tried to get Robert into her toils. It is extraordinary what astounding mistakes clever women make. I don't call women of that kind clever. I call them stupid. Same thing often. Good night, Lady Chiltern. Good night. Enter Sir Robert Chiltern. My dear Arthur, you are not going? Do stop a little. Afraid I can't, thanks. I have promised to look in at Hartlock's. I believe they have got a mauve Hungarian band that plays mauve Hungarian music. See you soon. Goodbye. Exit. How beautiful you look tonight, Gertrude. Robert, it is not true, is it? You are not going to lend your support to this Argentine speculation. You couldn't. Who told you I intended to do so? That woman who has just gone out, Mrs. Cheveley, as she calls herself now. She seemed to taunt me with it. Robert, I know this woman, you don't. We were at school together. She was untruthful, dishonest, an evil influence on everyone whose trust or friendship she could win. I hated, I despised her. She stole things. She was a thief. She was sent away for being a thief. Why did you let her influence you? Gertrude, what you tell me may be true, but it happened many years ago. It is best forgotten. Mrs. Cherry may have changed since then. No one should be entirely judged by their past. One's past is what one is. It is the only way by which people should be judged. That is a hard saying, Gertrude. It is a true saying, Robert. And what did she mean by boasting that she had got you to lend your support, your name, to a thing I have heard you describe as the most dishonest and fraudulent scheme that has ever been in political life? I was mistaken in the view I took. We all may make mistakes. But you told me yesterday that you had received the report from the commission, and that it entirely condemned the whole thing. I have reasons now to believe that the commission was prejudiced, or at any rate misinformed. Besides, Gertrude, public and private life are different things. They have different laws and move on different lanes. They should both represent man at his highest. I see no difference between them. In the present case, on a matter of practical politics, I have changed my mind, that is all. All? Yes. Robert, oh, it is horrible that I should have to ask you such a question. Robert, are you telling me the whole truth? Why do you ask me such a question? Why do you not answer it? Gertrude, truth is a very complex thing, and politics is a very complex business. There are wheels within wheels. One may be under certain obligations to people that one must pay. Sooner or later in political life, one has to compromise. Everyone does. Compromise, Robert? Why do you talk so differently tonight from the way I have always heard you talk? Why are you changed? I am not changed, but the circumstances alter things. Circumstances should never alter principles. But if I told you what? That it was necessary, vitally necessary? It can never be necessary to do what is not honorable. Or if it be necessary, then what is it that I have loved? But it is not. Robert, have no need of that. And money that comes from a tainted source is degradation. Power, but power is nothing in itself. It is power to do good that is fine, that and that only. What is it then, Robert? Tell me why you are going to do this dishonorable thing. Gertrude, you have no right to use that word. I told you it was a question of rational compromise. It is no more than that. Robert, that is all very well for other men, but for men who treat life simply as a sordid speculation. But not for you, Robert, not for you. You are different. All your life you have stood apart from others. You never let the world soil you to the world as to myself. You have been an ideal always. Oh, be that ideal still. That great inheritance throw not away. That tower of ivory do not destroy, Robert. Robert, men love what is beneath them. things unworthy, stained, dishonored. We women worship when we love, and when we lose our worship, we lose everything. Oh, don't kill my love for you. Don't kill that. Gertrude, I know that there are men with horrible secrets in their lives, men who have done some shameful thing, and who, in some critical moment, have to pay for it by doing some other act of shame. Oh, don't tell me you are such as they are, Robert. Is there in your life any secret dishonor or disgrace? Tell me at once that what? That our lives may drift apart. Drift apart. That they may be entirely separate. It would be better for us both. Gertrude, there is nothing in my past life that you might not know. I was sure of it, Robert, I was sure of it. But why did you say those dreadful things? Things so unlike your real self. Don't let us ever talk about the subject again. You will write, won't you, to Mrs. Cheverley, and tell her that you cannot support this scandalous scheme of hers. If you have given her any promise, you must take it back, that is all. Must I write and tell her that? Robert, what else is there to do? I might see her personally. It would be better. You must never see her again, Robert. She is not a woman you should ever speak to. She is not worthy to talk to a man like you. No, you must write to her at once, now, this moment, and let your letter show her that your decision is quite irrevocable. Right this moment? Yes. But it is so late, it is close on 12. That makes no matter. She must know at once that she has been mistaken in you, and that you are not a man to do anything base, or underhand, or dishonorable. Right here, Robert. Right, that you decline to support this scheme of hers, as you hold it to be a dishonest scheme. Yes, write the word dishonest. She knows what that word means. Sir Robert Chiltern sits down and writes a letter. His wife takes it up and reads it. Yes, that will do. And now the envelope. He writes the envelope slowly. Enter Mason. Have this letter sent at once to Claridge's Hotel. There is no answer. Exit Mason. Lady Chiltern kneels down beside her husband and puts her arms around him. Robert, love gives one an instinct to things. I feel tonight that I have saved you from something that might have been a danger to you, from something that might have made men honor you less than they do. I don't think you realize sufficiently, Robert, that you have brought into the political life of our time a nobler atmosphere, a finer attitude towards life, a freer air, of purer aims and higher ideals. I know it, and for that I love you, Robert. Oh, love me always, Gertrude. Love me always. I will love you always, because you will always be worthy of love. We needs must love the highest when we see it. Kisses them and rises and goes out. Sir Robert Chiltern walks up and down for a moment, then sits down and buries his face in his hands. The servant enters and begins putting out the lights. Sir Robert Chiltern looks up. Put out the lights, Mason, put out the lights. The servant puts out the lights. The room becomes almost dark. The only light there is comes from the great chandelier that hangs over the staircase and illumines the tapestry of the triumph of love. Act drop. Act 2. Scene. Morning room at Sir Robert Chiltern's house. Lord Goring, dressed in the height of fashion, is lounging in an armchair. Sir Robert Chiltern is standing in front of the fireplace. He is evidently in a state of great mental excitement and distress. As the scene progresses, he paces nervously up and down the room. My dear Robert, it's a very awkward business, very awkward indeed. You should have told your wife the whole thing. Secrets from other people's wives are a necessary luxury in modern life. So at least, I am always told at the club by people who are bald enough to know better. But no man should have a secret from his own wife. She invariably finds it out. Women have the wonderful instinct about things. They can discover everything except the obvious. Arthur, I can't tell my wife. When could I have told her? Not last night. It would have made a lifelong separation between us, and I would have lost the love of the one woman in the world I worship, of the only woman who had ever stirred love within me. Last night would have been quite impossible. She would have turned from me in horror and in contempt. Is Lady Chiltern as perfect as all that? Yes, my wife is as perfect as all that. Lord Goring taking off his left-hand glove. What a pity. I beg your pardon, my dear fellow. I didn't quite mean that. But if what you tell me is true, I should like to have a serious talk about life with Lady Chiltern. It would be quite useless. May I try? Yes, but nothing could make her alter her views. Well, at the worst it would simply be a psychological experiment. All such experiments are terribly dangerous. Everything is dangerous, my dear fellow. If it wasn't so, life wouldn't be worth living. Well, I am bound to say that I think you should have told her years ago. When? When we were engaged, do you think she would have married me if she had known that the origin of my fortune is such as it is, the basis of my career such as it is, and that I had done a thing that I suppose most men would call shameful and dishonorable? Yes, most men would call it ugly names. There is no doubt of that. Men who every day do something of the same kind themselves, men who each one of them have worse secrets in their own lives. That is the reason they are so pleased to find out other people's secrets. It distracts public attention from their own. And after all, whom did I wrong by what I did? No one. Except yourself, Robert. Of course, I had private information about a certain transaction contemplated by the government of the day, and I acted on it. Private information is practically the source of every large modern fortune, and public scandal invariably the result. Arthur, do you think that what I did nearly 18 years ago should be brought up against me now? Do you think it is fair that a man's whole career should be ruined for a fault done in one's boyhood almost? I was 22 at the time, and I had the double misfortune of being well-born and poor. Two unforgivable things nowadays. Is it fair that the folly, the sin of one's youth, if men choose to call it a sin, should wreck a life like mine? should place me in the pillory, should shatter all that I have worked for, all that I have built up. Is it fair, Arthur? Life is never fair, Robert, and perhaps that is a good thing for most of us it is not. Every man of ambition has to fight his century with its own weapons. What this century worships is wealth. The god of this century is wealth. To succeed one must have wealth. All it costs one, all it costs, at all costs, one must have wealth. You underrate yourself, Robert. Believe me, without your wealth, you could have succeeded just as well. When I was old, perhaps, when I had lost my passion for power or could not use it, when I was tired, worn out, disappointed. I wanted my success when I was young. Youth is the time for success. I couldn't wait. Well, you certainly have had your success while you were still young. No one in our day has had such a brilliant success. Undersecretary for Foreign Affairs at the age of 40. That's good enough for anyone, I should think. And if it is all taken away from me now, if I lose everything over a horrible scandal, if I am hounded from public life. Robert, how could you have sold yourself for money? I did not sell myself for money. I bought success at a great price, that is all. Yes, you certainly paid a great price for it. But what first made you think of doing such a thing? Baron Arnheim. Damned scoundrel. No, he was a man of most subtle and refined intellect, a man of culture, charm, and distinction, one of the most intellectual men I have ever met. Ah, I prefer a gentlemanly fool any day. There is more to be said for stupidity than people imagine. Personally, I have a great admiration for stupidity. It is a sort of fellow feeling, I suppose. But how does he do it? Tell me the whole thing. Sir Robert Chiltern throws himself into an armchair by the writing table. One night after dinner, at Lord Radley's, the Baron began talking about success in modern life as something that one could reduce to an absolutely definite science. With that wonderfully fascinating quiet voice of his, he expounded to us the most terrible of all philosophies, the philosophy of power, preached to us the most marvelous of all gospels, the gospel of gold. I think you saw the effect he had produced on me, for some days afterwards he wrote and asked me to come and see him. He was living then in Park Lane, in the house Lord Woolcombe has now. I remember so well how, with a strange smile on his pale, curved lips, he led me through his wonderful picture gallery, showed me his tapestries, his enamels, his jewels, his carved ivories, made me wonder at the strange loveliness of the luxury in which he lived, and then told me that luxury was nothing but a background, a painted scene in a play, and that power over other men, power over the world, the one joy, the one thing worth having, the one supreme pleasure worth knowing, the one joy one never tired of, and that in our century only the rich possessed it. A thoroughly fallow creed. I didn't think so then. I didn't think so now. Wealth has given me enormous power. It gave me at the very outset of my life, freedom, and freedom is everything. You have never been poor, and never known what ambition is. You cannot understand what a wonderful chance the Baron gave me, such a chance as few men get. Fortunately for them, if one is to judge by the result. But tell me definitely, how did the Baron finally persuade you to do what you did? When I was going away, he said to me that if I ever could give him any private information of real value, he would make me a very rich man. I was dazed at the prospect he held out to me, and my ambition and my desire for power were at that time boundless. 6 weeks later, certain private documents passed through my hands. State documents? Yes. I had no idea that you, of all men in the world, could have been so weak, Robert, as to yield to such a temptation as Baron Arnheim held out to you. Weak? Oh, I am sick of hearing that phrase, sick of using it about others. Weak? Do you think, Arthur, that it is weakness that yields to temptation? I tell you that there are terrible temptations that require strength and courage to yield to stake all one's life on a single moment, to risk everything on one throw. Whether the stake is power or pleasure, I care not. There is no weakness in that. There is a terrible courage. I had that courage. I sat down the same afternoon and wrote Baron Arnheim the letter this woman now holds. He made 750,000 over the transaction. And you? I received from the Baron £110,000. You were worth more, Robert. No, that money gave me exactly what I wanted, power over others. I went to the house immediately. The Baron advised me in finance from time to time. Before 5 years I had almost trebled my fortune. Since then, everything that I have touched has turned out a success. In all things connected with money, I have had a luck so extraordinary that sometimes it has made me almost afraid. I remember having read somewhere in some strange book that when the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers. But tell me, Robert, did you ever suffer any regret for what you had done? No. I felt that I had fought the century with its own weapons and won. You thought you had won. I thought so. Arthur, do you despise me for what I have told you? I am very sorry for you, Robert. Very sorry indeed. I don't say that I suffered any remorse. I didn't. Not remorse in the ordinary, rather silly sense of the word, but I have paid conscience money many times. I had a wild hope that I might disarm destiny. The sum Baron Arnheim gave me, I have distributed twice over in public charities since then. In public charities? Dear me, what a lot of harm you must have done, Robert. Oh, don't say that, Arthur. Don't talk like that. Never mind what I say, Robert. I am always saying what I shouldn't say. In fact, I usually say what I really think. I am always saying what I a great mistake now always that makes one so liable to be understood. As regard this dreadful business, I will help you in whatever way I can. Of course you know that. Thank you, Arthur, thank you. But what is to be done? What can be done? Well, the English can't stand a man who is always saying he is in the right, but they are very fond of a man who admits he has been in the wrong. It is one of the best things in them. However, in your case, Robert, a confession was not due. The money, if you will allow me to say so, is awkward. Besides, if you did make a clean breast of the whole affair, you would never be able to talk morality again. And in England, a man who can't talk morality twice a week to a large, popular, immoral audience is quite over as a serious politician. There would be nothing left for him as a profession except botany or the church. A confession would be of no use, it would ruin you. It would ruin me. Arthur, the only thing for me to do now is fight the thing out. I was waiting for you to say that, Robert. It is the only thing to do now. And you must begin by telling your wife the whole story. That I will not do. Robert, believe me, you are wrong. I couldn't do it. It would kill her love for me. And now about this woman, this Mrs. Cheverley. How can I defend myself against her? You know her before, Arthur, apparently? Yes. Did you know her well? So little that I got engaged to be married to her once. When I was staying at the Tembys, the affair lasted for 3 days, nearly. Why was it broken off? Oh, I forget. At least it makes no matter. By the way, have you tried her with money? She used to be confoundedly fond of money. I offered her any sum she wanted. She refused. Then the marvelous gospel of gold breaks down sometimes. The rich can't do everything, after all. Not everything. I suppose you are right, Arthur. I feel that public disgrace is in store for me. I feel certain of it. I never knew what terror was before. I know it now. It is as if a hand of ice were laid upon one's heart. It is as if one's heart were beating itself to death in some empty hollow. Robert, you must fight her. You must fight her. But how? I can't tell you how at present. I have not the smallest idea. But everyone has some weak point. There is some flaw in each one of us. My father tells me that even I have faults. Perhaps I have, I don't know. In defending myself against Mrs. Cheverley, I have a right to use any weapon I can find. Have I not? In your place, I don't think I have the smallest scruple in doing so. She is thoroughly well able to take care of herself. Well, I shall send a cipher telegram to the embassy at Vienna to inquire if there is anything known against her. There may be some secret scandal she might be afraid of. Oh, I just fancy Mrs. Cheverley is one of those very modern women of our time who find the new scandal as becoming as a new bonnet, and air them both in the park every afternoon at 5:30. I am sure she adores scandals, and that the sorrow of her life at present is that she can't manage to have enough of them. Why do you say that? Well, she wore far too much rouge last night, and not quite enough clothes. That is always a sign of despair in a woman. But it is worth while in my wiring to Vienna, is it not? It is always worth while asking a question, though it is not always worth while answering one.